really proud of the guys, the way that they responded. Obviously, last week from an outcome perspective was not what any of us wanted, and you know, I thought we came back. We had a day off, and really over the course of 2 days, just have a great bunch of guys. I mean, they met on their own. We had a team meeting. We had senior meetings, individual meetings, and that was really the bulk of the 2 days. We practiced, obviously, those 2 days, but just about an hour each day. We wanted to make sure that we knew, watched a lot of film, you know, what we needed to get corrected in order to play better. And, you know, the 3 or 4 things that were emphasized, I saw traction in those 3 or 4 areas today, and, you know, give the guys a lot of credit. You know, obviously NC State offensively, I mean, they're a load. Smith's terrific, and Dorn and Henderson can shoot the ball, and Boo had 14 double-doubles last year. He was terrific today. I mean, you know, they're you know, obviously the percentages that they shot aren't necessarily what we want defensively long-term, but they're a load to guard. You know, fortunately for us, we took care of the ball well in the second half with 2 turnovers. I thought that was excellent. We took better shots in the second half. I thought our effort was, we sustained it for the full 40 minutes. And I thought when, with 10 minutes to go, we actually ratcheted it up another level. And that was good to see at both ends of the floor. You know, obviously I thought Abrams, I mean, his willpower just is amazing. I mean, it really is. I mean, he's just a tough guy. I mean, his voice, you know, his leadership I thought was invaluable. I thought we got contributions from a lot of guys. I thought the energy level of Black is just contagious. I mean, it's just, he plays the game with such enthusiasm and energy, and you know, that I thought that was a good thing for us as well. Questions?
John, can you talk about the difficulty of adjusting your own coaching style to having so many available players?
Yeah, no, we're strength in numbers. We've talked a lot about that over the last 2 or 3 days. You know, this is, guys work hard. I mean, it takes a certain mindset for it to be that way. You know, they need to understand, we talked about it, that with our strength in numbers, minutes may vary more so than normal. I think it's a great point, Rob, you know, versus playing maybe a 6 or 7 man rotation. And are we going to embrace that could be a real strength for us? You know, what's the best way for us to do that and handle that? And, you know, obviously be great teammates and be excited for other guys when they do well, and how each game's going to be different, dictated by the opponent, and dictated by what we need to do in a given game. And tonight I thought I saw that. I thought that was a lot of our conversation the last couple of days as well, because you're right, it's tricky. You know, the last time I had this much depth was my last year at Ohio, and even then it was tricky, especially early. And you know, we're certainly, I wouldn't say we've nailed it yet, Rob, but we took a step in the right direction today. Shan.
That approach you took of the meetings and kind of doing more off the court stuff, what made you think that was the right approach? A lot of coaches, you know, go hard on the guys, or, you know, want to do on-court instruction. What made this particular time the right move for you guys?
Yeah, it's a great question. Just instinct, Shannon. I don't know. I mean, I felt like the mind is so much, and you know, as I do this for a little while, but the mind is just as, if not more important than the physical part. And to be honest with you, I think part of it for me was that I thought we really played really hard in that last game in New York City. I just didn't think we played very well. You know, so it's one thing if you go out and you're not playing hard, you're not competing. You know, we did that. We just needed to play better. We needed to take care of the ball better. We needed to take better shots. We needed to move the ball better. But it wasn't because of a lack of effort. In fact, I didn't think that was the case at all in any of the 3 losses last week. I just think we needed to play better, embrace our roles better, take better shots, move the ball better, be in better position defensively. You know, all the execution things. And but I think to do those things, you know, alluding to Rob's question, I thought it was a good one. You gotta have the right mindset. I call it pure heart and pure mind. And I do think there is a transition period when, you know, we have a deep team and we've had guys pop in and out of it at different times in practice through the first 50-some practices. You know, whether it's a guy, getting 1 out every 4 days off, a guy getting 1 out every 3, Hill missing the first 10 practices, J. Cole missing the first week, Dijon not starting till October 3rd, like, it's, you know, I've used the word synchronization a lot, and that's really what I was alluding to. I don't think by any means we're completely synchronized at this point, but at least we made some progress tonight.
John, let's talk more about that subbing. Is this
You
instinct?
gonna let him go, Jeremy, out of respect? Especially since we cut him off the other day when he was talking about competing.
Go ahead and end it.
Okay, so Lauren, we're gonna go with you, big guy.
Well, I just want, was this based on instinct on your part? Is it being concerned about tired players? Is it something that you plan? I mean, how the substitution, you're doing a lot of it, I just want.
Yeah, there's no question that our thought is we wanna run, we wanna rebound, we wanna give extraordinary effort, and we wanna use our depth to our advantage. You know, now, will guys' minutes, potentially certain guys change night in, night out? That's the tricky part that Rob was alluding to earlier, that guys have got to embrace that we have a, you know, a deep team, and we'll have, you know, it might look different, might have leading scores that are different each night. We got a lot of guys that are capable, depends on who we're playing, how they're playing. Are they small, are they big? Are we gonna try to match with them, or are we gonna try to counter-match them and go big when they're small, or small when they're big, or, you know, whatever we think's best at the time. In order to do that, the players have to have tremendous flexibility, especially mentally. You know, and I thought today we did that. I certainly thought our conversations over the last couple days really led us in that direction when we were able to do that tonight.
One other question, relative to how you used Hill in the late stages out on top.
Yeah,
When did you start doing that?
we've done that before. Obviously, we did a lot last year.
Well, I
We've
mean,
done it
in
in
the
practice.
game.
We've done it, yeah, we've done it in games. Yeah, we did it last year in games a ton. We've done it some in games, even this season. Today, probably a little bit more. That's probably why you noticed it a little bit more. He had a great, Dustin and I both felt like he had a great feel for what was going on out there. He was in attack mode. You know, he was in a zone a little bit in terms of making decisions and making plays. And so we were riding him there a little bit towards the end.
John, the second half, you obviously changed the lineup to start. What did you see that you wanted to go to that group? And Jalen Tate only played 0 minutes.
Yeah, I just think those guys that I started the second half, but that played really well in the first half. And I just decided to go ahead and, you know, Simon, I haven't done that a lot. You guys have, you know, been with us the whole way. Usually I start the same lineup the second half I did the first half. Again, it was just an instinct thing. You know, it was an instinct thing, and obviously that group played pretty well. Then we got good contributions off of the guys that came off the bench as well in the second half.
Twice as efficient offensively in the second half and shoot 68%. What do you think triggered that, man? Just the overall second half effort.
Not playing hero ball, passing the ball, moving the ball, cutting hard, trusting each other, trusting the offense, but more than we certainly did last week. Getting into the second, third side, you know, just a lot of different things, you know. But we executed better. Thought we were more precise, and then obviously our guys made shots. You know, that isn't always. I'm more concerned about the quality of the shot we get and the quality of possession. You know, I don't get too worried about necessarily whether it goes in or not. Obviously, I'd like for all of them to go in. I think our players are talented enough that if they take good ones, we can make a good percentage, a good enough percentage to win. But at the end of the day, you can't control that sometimes. You know, the quality of the possessions I thought were much better, Scott, in the second half.
You're on the right side.
Over here, kind of a follow-up to the shot quality question. Best I can glean from the shot chart here, I count about 70% of total shots were, and 35% of the two-point attempts were mid-range shots.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys had a roll in the second half, 68%. Ron, Malcolm both had that going. That
You
mid-range
did.
going. Is that something sustainable moving forward?
Yeah, I
Is
don't know.
that-
I mean, obviously, I'll take a look at it. You've got it right there, but you know, obviously, we want to try to attack the paint, and you know, Malcolm has a gift in the mid-range area, and then LaRon does on catch and shoots in that area. He obviously made a couple of them. You almost feel like every time he shoots it from about 15 to 17 foot, that's going to go in. Feet, it's going to go in.
The second half defensively, you used a lot of zone, you used a lot of man, but you kind of tweaked your man, it looked like, in the second half where you we're shading more guys in the center to keep Smith out of the lane, possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
it seemed like that it was really effective being able to change defenses. Young team, they got a little confused with what you were doing.
I thought it was good for us, you know, you say that, and they shot 53% for the game, I mean. But I knew going into the game, they were a load on offense, you know. We played some good teams, obviously, thus far, and teams have different styles, but, you know, their offense coming into the game reminded me of Winthrop's offense, which I thought was just terrific, watching them play going into that game. And, you know, obviously, George Johnson was able to do that. I was concerned a little bit with Dennis Smith, you know, similar type of team, 4 guards, spread you out. And I thought we did, all in all, we did a pretty good job. You know, obviously 53% is not a great number. We'll have to see why they shot that. I think one of the things that helped us is we were active. We deflected a lot of balls. And so a lot of the reason I think our defensive efficiency was pretty good in 2 of those defenses because we were able to force 19 turnovers, you know. So we'll take a look at it. I'm sure there's some things we need to clean up. But the mixing I thought was good.
John, obviously last year we heard Tracy's voice on the bench, but is there any way to quantify what it means to have him on the court with his voice?
No. No, it's not possible.
John,
The
back.
greatest comment, he makes me feel better.
Back to the shot chart. Did anybody talk to JCL to remind him that he's more than just a three-point shooter?
He drove the one, obviously made a big layup late. I thought tonight he played with a really clear mind and really attacked and was aggressive and did his job really well and embraced it. And I was excited for him because he's, you know, for his standard, and, you know, even mine for him, I got a lot of respect for him as a player. He had not played as well as he wanted to play. And, you know, players can be like coaches. They aren't real patient. And, you know, his journey's been a little bit different with, you know, what he's went through with the hand, and this is the first week of practice, and just honoring the process. I kept telling him to do that. So it was great to see a couple go in for him tonight, for him and for our team. But I thought he also did, you know, did some good things in addition to his shot making today. I think he really settled in, and hopefully we could build on that.
He also had another behind-the-back pass, and he found Mike Thorne in the lane, a really nifty pass. Are those the kinds of passes
Glad
that
he
you like?
completed it.
Yeah. Do you get nervous when you see him do that?
He's 1 for 2. The other night he didn't complete it. And then today he completed it.
John, LeBron seems to me plays with an edge that's a little different than a lot of your guys. Do you agree that that's something your team needs, somebody out there that plays that way?
No question, and he brings that to the table. He's always done that, Tuck, but he's in a different, I've said this before, it's a different mindset right now than I think I've seen him have. And I would say it's because he really is appreciative and grateful for the second chance. As a person, and what he's learned as a student, and how he's doing academically as a player, you know, he understands, and he's very outspoken about it, that it's his responsibility to learn and be better, to share his story, to help others. And that's pretty unique for a guy that age. You know, he just doesn't have bad days. He really didn't have a whole lot of them before, but I think he would tell you that every second he gets to put on that uniform, every practice, the opportunity he gets to walk the campus, he doesn't take it for granted, let's put it that way. And I think it's made him even better in a lot of areas.
In the back.
Here in the back. A couple games now since the West Virginia game. Do you feel like you're better prepared to handle pressure in the VCU Havoc defense?
We'll see.
Here in front.
After a pretty good start, Mav was kind of quiet for a few games in a row. Did he need something like this tonight where he got going in the second half, and maybe this 6 rebounds is more than he's had all year?
He was really good tonight. He was good. He was good in the Florida State game. Defensively, he was really good. In the Florida State game today, he was defensively really good again. Obviously, adding some production on the stat sheet to that, Scott, today with his finishing in and around the basket, his rebounding, his. He's really smart. He sees things at both ends of the floor. He anticipates things. He can see them before they develop, which is really valuable for us. When he's playing with that type of physicality and edge, and he's competing, then obviously those things get even more accentuated. And I thought in the last 2 games, he's really done that.
Anything else for Coach? All right.
Thanks, guys.